uh,
Got it. Okay, so
I mean that's one we're going to have to look at.
Okay.
So we're missing
Well,
Geri.
The
Sorry.
UPP meeting is not until April the 17th, by the way.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Geri did say she could join us, so I will expect her at some point in the next minute or two, I'm sure. I just got an email that I forwarded everybody from Marianne Rennie saying that the Fried Orman Center is no longer available to us on May 11th. There's an all-day long chemistry conference or something like that.
Right. Yeah, that's what the email you said.
Yeah. So anyway, and my personal life is interfering once again. I'm no longer available in person to chair. Bruce can do it from on the 11th, and Bruce can do it from Toronto via Zoom. But so anyway, I don't know if we don't have a venue, we have to change the date anyway.
Right.
We have not announced this to anybody but us at this point, along with the president and WUFA president Anna. I've sent a request in for an invite in to her and to Rob, but neither we got confirmation back from Rob that he could attend on the 11th between 2 and 3, whatever it was, and nothing back yet from Anna, but I expect that could come this week. Anyway, I'm not quite sure what we should be doing here.
Maybe the best bet is to get in touch with Rob and see when he can make it at a later date. I think trying to get it earlier is going to be too pushed, and so later might be available. So maybe get in touch with Rob Gordon to see when he can make it, and then work it from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea because earlier, we can't make earlier. I don't think so because it's pushing it, right?
Yeah. I think
Well, we can't make it earlier, and I assume that there's no other space on campus, really. Otherwise, chemistry would be there.
That's right. Marianne said in that email, let me draw it back.
Yeah, I read the email.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what she said, but
So unfortunately, because of the lack of event space on campus, Fried Orman is being very heavily used, and there's not she just doesn't say anything else about that, but
maybe there's room in the chemistry department we can use.
yeah. She does say, my apologies, is there another day I can check for you? So I guess basically if we respond to that email, she will probably do both the president's calendar plus the Fried Orman calendar. So
yeah, maybe ask her have her suggest some available dates later on in the month.
yeah, I think Norm's right. If you write back to her and say, okay, this is really disappointing, but can you give us another date when you think Fried Orman is available and when the president's available?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. And then we can work from there. I mean, it's hard for us to do this because we're trying to coordinate, Christina's trying to coordinate a whole bunch of different things here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not actually on campus to do this. So
well, one thing though, I just wanted to raise, I remembered that when we first talked about it, some people knew that there was a room in the library that could work. I don't know what it's like. Is it so much?
It's not a room. It's that on that first floor. There's an open, I think it's like their data area outside their data room. So it's not really conducive to a meeting that we would expect maybe 20-25 people without disturb. It's not closed room, put it that way.
It's not conducive unless you're going basically after hours when there's no students around.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I see. Yeah, no, that's not good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it was the room upstairs, but it's not. So it's not. I mean, we could use it and we could make do, but because it's just us that have May 11th in our calendars at the moment, plus the president. I think that we could probably change the date.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will fire off an email to Mary Ann as soon as this meeting's over and see what she can come up with.
Right.
But
Well,
it will be a date that I will be out east, so I won't be in person chairing it, no matter what. Once May
But
11th.
if we get beyond the 15th of May, it may be possible for me to come down in person.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So beyond
Right,
May
so-
15.
If we can get further on, it's just that this period of time from the 4th to the 14th is, we have visitors here.
Yeah. I know. I can't, it's so hard sometimes. I can't believe there's only 9 of us, but trying to get us all together is really difficult sometimes. So I know how hard this is. We're all very busy. Okay, we have Geri joining us.
I
Yeah.
lost my hands up on my bottom.
Okay.
Where is it? But I would
okay.
suggest that if we have a problem trying to find a room, that we go for the online.
Yeah.
We just can't muddle around with this forever and ever. But if this doesn't work, we give up the hybrid and go to an online meeting.
Yeah. I mean, it would be much easier if it was online instead of hybrid at the moment, but
Yeah.
because we could probably still carry on with May 11th if that was the case.
yeah.
It defeats one of the purposes, though.
It sure
Yeah.
does, because I know that's what people want, is to get together. So it's difficult. Good morning, Geri. Thank you for joining us. I don't know whether you just read the email we got from
No, I had, I'm still doing an advisory group and I'm at Riverside Secondary School. I had a crisis this morning with a student. So I asked them, she left crying, but I think everything's okay.
Oh dear. Well, we just got an email from Mary Ann Rennie saying that the Freed Orman Center is no longer available to us on the May 11th. So we're trying to decide what to do about the spring meeting.
We've all been crying too.
Yeah. Especially me, it feels like. Okay.
Oh,
I don't know why I've ever got this job. Honest to goodness, it's going to kill me.
where's Roger? He's hiding his face.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think the spring meeting, I think people want to meet. And I think number one, that's important. Number two is I think either the president or the new vice president should be chairing the meeting. Like they asked me if I wanted to chair it. And I think it's sort of nice, but I've been president for 4 years. So I think it's nice to show to the members one of the new management group is going to chair and have a good meeting for us. Anyway, sorry. I don't mind doing it as a backup.
Yeah. But so it means that Bruce will end up chairing because I won't be in the city
That's so great.
in May. It won't happen.
And you could maybe Zoom.
I'll zoom in. Yeah. Especially if it's not the 11th, I can zoom in, no problem. But yeah.
So I think that's still fine.
Okay. So I will quickly respond to Mary Ann and see what she can come up with us for a date for Freed Orman. And then we'll have to, Christina, you'll have to do your magic with all of the pieces that go with that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and I'll have to, I'll just wait till I hear, but I'll tell my committee members.
I will copy you for sure on my email with Mary Ann so that when she responds, it comes back to you too. Because I think it was just me that she responded to this time.
Yeah. I think
It's just to you. I got that up. Yeah. I didn't know she was still there. I guess I got confused about the times, but maybe she's working part-time until the end of May or something.
She says she's trying to transition somebody else into the role a little bit. So I think she's trying to keep an eye on it, but she's only part-time. Yeah. Okay. Great. So if and when we finally get the date, what do we want to have on the program? Again, we're going to have Rob, and he's agreed and he's very aware of the issues that we would like him to perhaps address if he can. I haven't heard back from Anna, but I'm sure I will. And then I guess, Bruce, if you're chairing, I could still speak if we have a date that I'm available. And so I could do the welcome, but Bruce could do the chairing of the meeting and steer us all through it, the questions and answers from people who are in the room. We wanted to do something about UPP because I think the majority of our members know nothing about this issue, and it certainly will affect us directly. And yes, there is that video, but it is very long, and I doubt very much that very many of our members would take the time to sit through 2 hours of a video.
I haven't done it.
No,
I
Yeah.
haven't done it yet either, so that's the
I
same thing.
haven't either, so I
Yeah.
just haven't had
Uh,
time. I know.
I
Bruce
strongly
has.
suggest that you do.
Yes.
It is
fully
useful on many accounts. It begins with the 2 WUPA reps basically explaining the system that we have. And then it goes to basically 4 ladies who are involved with the running of the UPP. And I thought they explained it extraordinarily well.
Yeah, I think there's lots of positive things about it, but I think we could introduce it in a shorter version than 2 hours. I
Well-
just really think that's possible. So
Well,
I don't know.
one thing that I thought of as I watched it again would be if we could get one of those ladies, and I'm not sure which one would be available, to do, say, a 15-minute summary of where things stand. And they wouldn't necessarily have to be live, but again, if they recorded
Could
it,
zoom
we
in.
could show it.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
as-
Adrian, you have your hand up? Or is that me?
No, I'm just
No,
wondering
sorry.
about that
I got
because,
my thingy up there. Sorry.
because as I indicated previously, the UPP committee won't be meeting until April the 17th.
Yeah.
So, and then I suppose we will have a general discussion. We will go over the video again. We'll make certain points, but we will not have met or decided to meet with the committee from the UPP, from Toronto, Queen's, and the other universities, Guelph and Trent.
Mhm.
And therefore, there will be really very little to say, even if, unless the meeting is held, let's say in June or July, or,
Yeah.
because the 4 or 5 of us will have to discuss it in detail. And I don't know if WUFA will have objections to what they presented, because I assume all the members of that committee will have seen the videos and are fully aware of the ins and outs, or if there are any problems. Now, Jake already mentioned 2 things, and they can certainly be brought up. But aside from that, it was a very long video, admittedly, but everything was made perfectly clear as far as I can understand.
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as I know.
I think that's probably true, and I'm not too. It's just that I don't think very many of our members will view that video in advance of
I
our
understand
meeting.
that.
So
Yeah.
I think providing them with a summary of what the possibilities are, what the issues might be, and knowing that the work is just beginning by the UPP committee, I don't think we wouldn't expect that we would have any answers to any of the questions necessarily, except about the specific details about what the UPP does and how what was explained in the video, plus our reminder of our own current pension.
Yeah.
But
I just wanted to add something. What you just said, and Jake, about having a short version, I was going to have that same idea, but I guess I would say that I'd have a slight preference for somebody to be physically present, because it just, well, maybe I'm just old fashioned. It seems like a little nicer. So possibly someone from the committee that you're on, Adrian, could do that short 10 or 15-minute presentation with the main points.
Yeah, I could certainly ask Moharan to. He might be able to to attend, or somebody else may, but
Mhm.
a short summary would, I suppose, also be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, Norm?
Yeah, I
Norm.
think that the two things that people are most concerned about is the security of their university pension and the subsidy itself that helps to pay for the extended healthcare costs. I think those are the two things people want assurance on, whatever else comes up.
Okay, Bruce?
Yeah, I actually think that those kinds of questions are premature right now. And what I think we should get Muharrem to talk about is what's going to be the process here. That I think is the really important question. Where are they now? Where do they see themselves being, 6 months down the road? And what role do retirees have in this? And we need to sort of like tie that down. And so that's what I think he should be speaking about. If Adrian wants to ask him to speak, that's fine. If not, I'm happy to ask him as well.
Okay.
I mean, it's not so much the ins and outs of the plan right now, because they'll be negotiating most of that stuff. But the question is, what's our role in it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, Jake?
Our role, retirees actually do have a role in this. We have a dog in this fight. So we really need to explain what that is.
Mhm.
As I remember that video, and as again, I reviewed it, that both the employer, the university, and the union have to agree. Plus, no more than 1/3 of people getting the pension can oppose it. So if more than 1/3 of retirees getting the pension oppose it, it does not go forward. At least that was my understanding
That's correct, Jake.
of what was said.
So it's really important that our members
Yeah,
understand this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What I can say is, again, what the ladies who gave the presentation reiterated on more than one occasion is that for retirees, basically nothing would change. That is what they said. Again, the hybrid was only brought up in the sense that Queen's University that joined has a hybrid plan.
Mhm.
I take it that the fact that we have one is not a death knell for it, but the university would have to agree, the union would have to agree, and no more than 1/3 of retirees getting the pension can be opposed.
Okay, so that's one of the things that we would want here to talk about for sure. So Bruce or Adrian, who wants to talk to him about being our program?
Yeah, I'll talk to Muharrem.
Okay.
We're meeting
But
pretty
we
soon.
need unfortunately, we need a date first, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, we do, but just making sure that so I'll try to get the date settled as quickly as possible and back to everybody, and hopefully we'll all be available.
All right, so
I'll
you're
get her
going
to
to
give
do
us
it.
some
Adrian,
options.
you're going to do it?
Yeah,
Just to confirm this, Adrian, you're going to talk to Muharrem.
that's right.
Okay, good.
I will
Okay.
see him this Thursday.
All right.
2
Okay.
days.
Good. Okay, so I don't know. I guess we can't do anything else about the spring meeting at this point. Should because I won't contact the chairs. Do we want the chair reports or not?
No.
No. Okay,
I-
good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Nice. Me too.
I think that's what we want to discuss here at the meeting today, right? Because that was what came up after our last discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we want on the agenda?
Yeah.
What's going to be on the agenda of the spring meeting? I think that's what we want to decide.
Well, as much as we can, I think the presidents of WUFA and the university and a few words from Bruce or me, whoever is going to be chairing and acting on behalf of the executive, and then basically the UPP program, because that could take up the full hour.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, easily.
with
I
the
think that's
questions.
enough.
I do too.
And then let
Sanity.
people, have some snacks and chat.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we want people to socialize at
Right.
the same time, so.
Yeah. So if that's okay, I'm cognizant that Bruce is going to leave us at 10:30. So I wanted to, we can come back to some more details about this if we want, but before Bruce leaves us, which is not very much, 5 minutes from now, we were talking about the Constitution, if I can quickly flip into that. And a few of us, after a late night musing from me saying, look, we're really getting, there's 165 of us. We have what? How much money have we got, Norm?
About 8,000 roughly.
Yeah,
Close to it
$8,000
anyway.
and we're sweating over this 8-page, 9-page Constitution that's going to tie us into 2 meetings a year with very mandated reports from everybody, lots of hoops that we're going to have to jump through for notice and everything else. And I was laying awake that night thinking, oh my God, why are we doing this to ourselves? But I understand we are trying to address some past issues. We are setting up 2-year terms. Someone like Norm will be turfed off after 4 years instead of being almost lifetime treasurer. So I don't know exactly what we're going to be accomplishing that's going to help us as much as I think the work that the Constitution Committee has done has been phenomenal, and they need to be really, really thanked for that. But we're building up a lot of words and a lot of rules, and I am not convinced that we'll be able to follow them all. So that's my one last plea about this. And so that after I sort of sent out those musings, we had just to the few people who had been reviewing the minutes from last time, we got into a more discussion, and I forwarded it to everybody. So I wanted you all to be able to understand where that came from. So
If I could add something to that, I mean, times have changed as well. I mean, we've gone through the COVID. I mean, we've been doing things remotely for 3 years because we had to do it that way. I mean, we looked at what was being done before, but our members would meet 3 times a year, basically, the spring, the fall, and the holiday luncheon time. But the thing is that we've got our newsletter, which we try to make more what's going on within the group, which is not what always happened with the old newsletter. It was more what was happening on campus than more what was happening within our group. So I think we've changed more. I think people have expressed to us they want to get together. So maybe we can get together more socially in the summer or whatever, which we haven't done too much, which I think we wanted to do. But in the idea of having a spring meeting, I think it's just a get together more than, I don't think we have to have reports. We can go back to our AGM would make sure all our reports are annually done there. I don't know. I think maybe times have changed, especially we're putting out an online newsletter 5 times a year now, telling people what's going on. People seem to be happy with that. I think so far. Anyway, so I think maybe we have to look at it. It's a new time. And anyway, I feel that strongly about that.
Yeah.
Bruce, can I ask Bruce to speak before he has to leave?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, Gwen, there's 2 separate issues here. One issue is whether or not one issue that was directly in that thread of emails is the issue of the spring meeting.
Right.
And I mean, I don't see any reason why why an organization like ours should have 2 annual general meetings. It just, I mean, first of all, it's an oxymoron, but second of all, it's just not logical. And so the second meeting really should be, the spring meeting really should be part social, but also part, here are issues that are facing us as retirees or facing the university in this climate or whatever it is. And we should really structure that meeting. And we're sort of doing it this time around those kinds of issues. Then there's a separate question as to whether or not we need all these things about term limits and all that other stuff. And I don't really have an opinion on that, but I do have a very strong opinion that we don't need two duplicative annual general meetings. And I'd like to see us move, get that out of the Constitution and say there shall be a spring meeting if you want to put it in there at all. I don't see any reason why there has to be.
Yeah.
But just that deals with big issues and emerging issues or whatever it is, and is part social, part educational, part getting together. So that's my pitch to everybody.
So by what you mean, Bruce, is you don't have to have the formal stuff of agenda and everything. You just have greetings and say, today we could talk about this issue, which is arising or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we don't.
Or maybe have somebody come to talk about it like we are about the UPP.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
what I think. I think, if we, and you could have like 3 sessions of a half an hour each, followed by, party sandwiches, beer, wine, whatever. That's the important part.
Yeah.
I think we've gone to a calendar year. New terms start beginning of the year. So I think to have the annual meeting, at least with all the reports and so on, have it in November, whatever.
Right.
Not have any, and spring can be just for issues and socializing. I think that's terrific.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to massage if people are in agreement, we need to massage the Constitution to get that stuff out of there, and about this annual spring meeting, the crazy term.
Yeah.
But we need to get that out. And unfortunately, because tomorrow night Passover starts, I gotta get going here and get a whole bunch of other things done.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So-
thank you very much, Bruce, for joining us for the short time that you were able to fit in. I
I'm
know
sorry
how
I can't
busy
stay
it
any
is.
longer, but it's just this,
Yeah.
there's 20 people for dinner the next 2 nights, it's
Yeah.
like-
There's a lot of stuff that goes on, a lot of
Right,
preparation.
Yes.
Okay.
So I gotta
Okay.
get out of here. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye
care.
for now. Thanks
Bye.
a lot.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye.
Bye now, Bruce. Thank you.
Okay, so
Okay.
I wanted to add something in.
Yes.
Just to follow up from what Roger said, the social part is so important. This is conveying what Mary Lou Drake said in our social committee meeting. And, as a nurse, I think she's thinking about the health things, and that, having people get together again after all the stuff we went through in the pandemic is really important. And so the social side is what she was stressing. And I felt that was very convincing. And Roger, you more or less articulated that. But I think that could be a way, less obviously what, the committee I'm on is supposed to be doing, is just finding ways to help people get together. And that will be to the good of all of us.
Right. Okay. I think we're pretty much in agreement then, unless someone here wants to say something against what general theme of what we've been saying is that one annual meeting, and then other meetings, especially one in the spring, but other meetings depending upon what our committees put in place, because the social committee has in the past arranged a number of different social activities that are not necessarily programmatic, but we've also had those. And if the communications committee comes up with ideas as a result of articles in the e-journal, like we would like to do something on the Auditor General's report, that would be another one. We're probably going to have issue meetings around the UPP issue, more than one. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for our members to be active together, either hybridly or in some instances in person, or in other instances through Zoom or Teams, whichever. So if we can sort of rewrite that section with some of this in mind, and try not to make it so detailed that it hems us in again, so that we have a lot of opportunity to do what we need to do to address timely the issues and what we want our committees to be doing and what they want to do. So I think I don't believe I did not invite Veronica to this meeting, so I think I need to give her a heads up to what we're thinking about as one of the key people on the Constitution Committee who was in contact with us, because I think this is a major change. And the other issue I think we should be thinking about is the 2-year terms. I think we need to at least ensure, as Norm raised at one point with me, that 2-year terms, or as, what was the wording you had,
I
Norm?
put or as needed.
Or as needed,
If you
because
don't have that, then you have to kind of have a vote, to alter the Constitution or stuff like that. If you just put or as needed, like we've had trouble filling spaces sometimes. And if you have someone like Jake who's willing to serve for life, then I think we need both new people such as Christina and Geri, but we also need some continuity. So I think the idea of terms is fine, but I think we can put, if we just put in a clause or as needed, that doesn't hem us in. I think with the other thing that's come up about the annual meeting and so on, that we don't need to be in any hurry to get this Constitution through. That, with the newsletter coming out, or the news bulletin, or whatever we call that keeps people informed of issues. We can discuss issues on the executive meeting, and if they need to be brought to the whole membership, either as information or for discussion, we can do that. But I don't think we need to be hemmed in by too many rules and regulations.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
if
Roger.
I could add something, I would agree completely with Norm with that. And the other thing is, we're looking to do the Constitution, but we are looking to do it for the fall meeting. So now, if we're only having one AGM, that's where the place would come. It would either fall anyway. And I think so we have time to get it. It takes time to get it resolved. As Jake knows, how many rewrites Jake has been doing for us.
Yeah, I know, it's unreal, and we're nowhere close to being finished with some of these things for sure.
Yeah.
I had a really brief look at our current 3-page Constitution, and it's not that bad. So I don't know. It's making me nervous is all. But I'm thinking by then my term will be done and I'll be off of here, so it doesn't matter. But okay, so that was really good and very helpful. So we'll start to work. I don't know who the we will be, but we'll figure this out. Jake has sort of done a bit of a rewrite with this conversation that we had, the 3 or 4 of us, in mind. And now that we're all sort of in the same page, we'll have a look at that and probably shorten it up a little bit, Jake.
No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
So, and then, so if we finish now, the articles that we have not even discussed at all, which was Article 12 and on this morning, what time is it? 10:30. We might be able to. If we can do that, what were the other issues though that somebody else had raised another one?
Well, one was when it takes effect.
Right.
There's basically some little statement in here that it would come into effect at a particular date or at time of approval, but it would not be retroactive at all.
Oh, it can't be retroactive. So, I think that's a lawyer type thing. I don't think it can.
What could it possibly do in the past?
Yeah, can't fix that. But there was another one. Larry, our RUFA rep to the faculty council. Was it faculty? Is he rep to faculty council?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Yes, and Adrian, you're the rep to the executive. If the reps to the WUFA faculty council and the WUFA executive are not on the executive, Larry was suggesting that they be ex officio members of the WURA executive, because they can't represent us on these committees without knowing what's going on. And so I think Larry has been being forwarded the minutes, but he's not cognizant of sometimes the issues that we talk about as executive members that don't maybe get into the minutes yet, because we haven't quite dealt with them, things that we're thinking about necessarily. Anyway, so that was another suggestion that he had, and I said I would bring it here.
The WUFA rep, and who was the other one?
The WUFA rep to faculty council and the WUFA rep to the executive
Oh,
Right.
meetings,
yeah.
that they be ex officio. Jake?
Yeah, that's an excellent point. For the 6 months that I was on the executive, it was very helpful that I was also on the WURA executive. Larry makes an excellent point.
Yeah, and I see Adrian nodding his head, so yeah, as our current rep on the executive. So that we need to worry about putting that in too, I think, if we can, because they're not, that's not in there at all.
On the 2-year term, I kind of agree with that. I just had my 86th birthday.
Happy
And
birthday.
I am not too confident in looking 2 years down the road in terms of where I'm going to be. And, in terms of our age, to basically commit for a 2-year term is, we're not 25 anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if we only, I mean, we've had the past, it's been elections every year, right?
Right.
Annual.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I'm not really sure why
I'm not sure either.
why we were changing it, but I mean, I'm okay with a 2-year term because it does provide some continuity within certain positions. But you're right, Jake, at our age, 2 years is a long time sometimes.
It goes fast as hell, though.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we can think more about that, but okay, so if I can't, oh, you know what, I forgot to get approval of those minutes from the last meeting in my rush to get through everything before Bruce left. So we can back up and the minutes that were circulated that you all received, are they okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, a motion to approve.
sure.
Sure, Richard and Roger. Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you. Sorry about that. I get too excited sometimes. Or representatives to WUFA committees. Now this is Article 12, which is the one where we would need to, no, I think that's back further where we would add the ex officio membership. So that's not in this section. But anyway, is there a problem with this one, 1201?
Wait a minute. Okay. We're 1201. Oh,
Yeah, we're on
oh, I just
1201.
wanted to,
Sorry.
I'm not sure if we did 11, but I had notes for where we had stopped the social committee one. It says 2 members, and I wanted to say 3. I currently have 3 others, and I feel that that's very helpful. That's my only.
Okay, let me, okay, we can do that. So there are 4 of you?
Yeah, me and Jake and Mary Lou Drake.
Okay.
I think that the new wording says shall approve a chair and at least 2 additional
No
members.
board members,
Oh,
yes.
at least. So it
At
says
least
at
2
least.
additional members. So there's,
Oh.
that's a additional wording, so that should cover it.
That covers it.
Oh, I did. That's not in what I was looking at. So if it says at least, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry,
the newest,
I don't
that's
know
the
how
newest
this is
version.
That was,
our
yeah, I think,
previous.
yeah, no, I know. I shouldn't have circulated that newest one until we were really finished, but we got a little anxious. Okay, so at least 2 additional WURA members, okay.
So that should cover your.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah, yeah. I was looking at the copy we had before,
Four,
which
Right,
I'd
right.
already,
okay,
went
right.
through. Okay, fine. Just
All right.
forget that.
All right.
1201. Okay.
Okay, so 1201,
Oh,
which has an A, B, C, and D. There's the WUFA Contract Committee, WUFA Executive Committee, WUFA Faculty Council, WUFA Retirement and Benefits Committee.
I didn't see any issues.
I
Really,
think
with
they
anything.
all, any of those people have been a member of WUFA at some point during their working career. And I mean, we've turned down volunteers for these committees because they have not been, but I don't know whether we're concerned about that or not.
That is a WUFA requirement.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's a
I mean,
WUFA,
yeah.
so we can't change it. I'd forgotten that bit. Thank you, Jake, for the reminder. I just remember we had to turn down people who wanted to do it, but couldn't. Okay, so
The way I read 1201 is that these positions are not elected.
that's correct. They shall be selected by
Yeah.
the executive committee.
I think B
Should we
and
say normally renewable only once in the same executive office?
Yeah, I think that gives flexibility. We don't want to be kind of rigidly tied down to stuff. You know, if we have a really good rep on there who's willing to continue, I think we should let them rather than turf them off and try to find somebody else, which sometimes can be hard.
Yeah. And I was going to add the word normally when if we leave it at 2-year terms as well, because it says normally you can only serve 2-year terms. I think we need to make sure we add normally in that one as well, because gosh, help us, Norm, if you're willing to serve as treasurer, I don't think anybody's going to turf you out. So,
right.
Well,
I mean,
4 more years is going to be the limit.
yeah. Well, you never know. You never
No.
know. The new 100 is, a lot of people are making it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in, excuse me,
Mhm.
in B and C, what we had wanted to add there to also put alternates, like we've asked for that to WUFA, but I think
Right.
you want to put that, like we should have in the faculty council, we had supposedly alternates now already, but the executive would not, the WUFA executive wouldn't allow us to put an alternate. Now
Yeah,
we've asked them to put that in their constitution,
we did.
the changes, right? So I think we should have that in both our constitution as well.
But we could put it in the faculty council one.
But I
Well,
think
I
you
don't know.
want
How
to
do we
do,
rewrite that though? Hang on a sec. Is that where we rewrite it, or do we
well, I think it
select
should be in
candidates
both.
for each of the following committees? We're a represent. I think we need
One way to do it would be right after WUFA Faculty Council to put member and alternate.
Yeah.
sorry. So WUFA Faculty Council member and
After the colon, member and alternate.
then
And
it become
would
the
be
selected
representatives
representatives, right?
shall be
So, okay,
members.
so if we actually put it in before the colon, say WUFA Executive Committee member and alternate, and WUFA Faculty Council
Okay.
member and
That would
alternate,
work.
then add the S's to that could work. But we can't force them, WUFA, to say alternates for the executive.
But we've asked them to make that change.
Doesn't mean they will.
No, but
Right.
we can suggest it. We can suggest.
Yeah. Okay.
If they don't agree with it, then we don't. Then we'll have to change this. But
Okay. All right.
it's the faculty council. We've always had an alternate. but we never had it written down.
Right.
Now, these are very time-consuming jobs. Those committees need a lot.
I know, yeah, I know. But I think the problem that happened is Jake, when he was our rep, was out of town. You were on vacation or something, and we wanted to attend that meeting, and they wouldn't allow us to send an alternate.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay, so
Awesome.
that's okay for 1201 then?
Hmm.
1301, these are our
So you were
representatives.
gonna change it to will normally hold 2-year terms.
Right,
Yeah, so it just normally comes in there.
right,
Normally, right.
got that one. Okay, so WURA representatives to university committees. I'm going to suggest that wherever we say 2-year terms, we add the word normally, and just to give us that flexibility all the way through this.
Yep.
So. The executive shall recommend candidates for each of the following committees to be permanent membership in an election. Now, these ones are elected because they're our committees. Okay.
What is the same executive? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, I see.
Oh, I guess the normally is not needed in this one because it's got unless other. No, it's not in the terms of the committee. So we do want normally. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the JCC at this point is not. 3 senior members of the University of Windsor administration, normally the president, the provost, and the vice president. Human resources. Right now, it's the acting provost, the acting whatever.
It's a
Clinton's.
VP EDI.
It's the three VPs, basically.
The VP EDI now.
Yeah.
Has changed, has replaced the vice president, human resources.
Right. And the only reason the VP research didn't join us was because he was finishing his term.
Right. Well,
so it's those 3 VPs, because there's another one that's off to the least. So I don't know whether we should be, it says normally, so maybe we'll just leave it as it is then. And right now our JCC is, I think, Veronica and myself, but if we ever get a chance to have another meeting, it would certainly include the vice president and, well, I don't know how many people.
we used to have 3 people. It used to be president, vice president, and it could be past president or it could be a director. And we had one alternate as well. So basically they had 3, we had 3.
Right.
You know, we didn't have 4.
We don't, and this is saying 1, 2, 3, 4.
And sure, it's 4 from WURA and 3 on the other side. Usually it's 3 and 3. I mean, it's like.
What do people think?
I don't think it matters. The 3 years that I've been on that thing, nothing has happened.
Okay. It does seem like there's the alternate, I guess, doesn't necessarily attend.
I wouldn't think so.
I don't know why we have to spell it out, but anyway. I would think it is important for us to send the people appropriate for and the most knowledgeable about the issues that we're going to have on the agenda. So one would assume it would be the president and at least the vice president, but it could be the secretary, it could be the treasurer, it could be whoever is really needed to address any issues.
Right.
I mean, if we wanted to talk about health benefits with these people, we would probably want to bring in our chair of our pension and benefits committee person. So anyway, I just, again, we're prescribing what it has to be. And I
Yeah.
always find that a
Yeah.
little worrisome. Jake?
I think what we tried, this was long before my time, and Norm, maybe you have better insight into this, but I think what we really wanted to set up was a meeting with our top people and the top people at the university, which means, the president of WURA, the president of the university, et cetera, talking about these issues.
Mhm.
How it worked before President Gordon, I have no idea. But in the 3 years that I have gone to these meetings, he has really tried to distance himself as far as possible from meeting with us. And essentially, he's delegated whatever, takes place at the meeting to people on his staff. So I think it is useful to keep it in the Constitution that we really want to deal with the top dog here. And my guess is that most presidents would think one meeting a year with retirees is not particularly onerous.
Yeah.
And
But
So
in
why
the
don't we
past,
say JCC consists of 3 WURA executive members? Normally the president, vice president, and somebody else.
and a director or alternate. And then if you, maybe you do that, and then that you can.
So
you
it
can pick-
matches the 3 senior members of the University of Windsor,
Yeah.
normally the president. So if we reword it along
Yeah.
those lines, so if
Yeah.
we say 3 WURA executive members, normally the president, vice president,
and director. Or maybe,
and director.
maybe, yeah.
one direct, yeah.
Yeah. Then you can choose whoever you want, maybe.
Yeah, because we're all directors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It could be any one.
Yeah.
Okay. But it would give us the flexibility to take the person to address whatever agenda we were setting. Okay.
And if you said in one alternate, that would give you you could move that to the right person,
Okay. So that, okay.
right? You see what I'm
Yeah.
getting at?
Mhm.
The
Okay.
alternate could replace the director.
Right.
So just get rid of the past president.
Past president. Okay.
What are we getting rid of, Roger? I missed that.
I'd say
Past-
just get rid of past president.
Oh, okay.
If you had president,
Isn't there a
vice
conflict
president,
of interest there, Roger?
well, I don't know. I'm saying, but I
Got
could, if they wanted me to be there, I could make
Yeah.
me as an alternate.
Okay.
You'd be the alternate for
I
that.
could be the alternate if they want. Yeah, I'm
As
just,
long as we don't have to name the alternate during the elections or whatever, because that would defeat the purpose of being able to have the flexibility.
Right.
okay. Yeah, I see your
So-
point. Yeah, I see your point.
So, the president, vice president, 1 director.
And also, I don't know.
Well, we can think about it because
Yeah,
I think we can probably come up with, I'll try to figure out something. Okay. Retiree Healthcare Subsidy Committee, purpose of. Okay. Do we know how many members are on this?
that's normally 1.
Okay.
I went
Well, it's
back
a-
and looked. I went back and looked at all of them to see.
Yeah.
That's normally 1 member.
Is it Barbara Thomas at the present time?
Do we have anybody at that position now?
I don't know. We should, but we probably don't. Well, it's usually comes in handy, or comes into effect when we're negotiating contracts, maybe? Is that when it? I don't know enough about this one.
Should we put in normally 1 member?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
In C is normally 2 members. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I
if
think
that-
that's
that's a D with a D7 committee, which is what it was
right.
called.
That's it. It's in the collective agreement. I don't know. I have to look at the collective agreement. I think it might actually prescribe the
members.
membership. I have to
I think
look.
that's maybe why we've had 2 members.
Yeah. So we probably don't need to repeat that. Okay, so that would take us to the WURA representative to the Board of Governors, Pension Committee.
And that's 1 member.
Yep, because it says shall select the WURA representative. So. And the term for 3 years, that's prescribed by the Board of Governors
Exactly.
bylaws. So 15, WURA representation on external committees.
Gwen, could I just mention in terms of UPP, the faculty association's problem with the current governance of the pension is that there is a conflict between the Board of Governors Pension Committee and the not the D7, but the D2 committee that is negotiated in the contract.
Right.
That is a big issue with them, and there are grievances that have been going on for over a decade in terms of figuring this out. And what the faculty association is really upset about is that the Board of Governors Pension Committee has basically taken over the running of the pension, and the D2 committee, on which WUFA has representation, is not consulted. So that is the big issue for WUFA, the conflict between these two committees.
But we're not a member of the D2 committee.
No, we are not. But
I mean,
WUFA is.
Right. So I understand.
But the problem is that, as I understand it, is that the D2 committee is mandated to meet 4 times a year, and for a number of years has not met at all, which ain't good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
My feeling is that in terms of moving the pension to the UPP, that WUFA would be on board for that move. They are not happy with the way the decisions on the pensions are made. Not necessarily they're unhappy with the returns, et cetera, but they are not happy with the way decisions are made. And they feel that the employees are not getting their just say in how the pension is run. And one of the advantages of the UPP, if you look at that, their governance, it is half and half. In other words, the employees are half the committee, the employers are half the committee. So it's half and half. At any rate, there's a lot in that video. Then I would certainly invest an hour and a half and look at the whole thing, because I think it outlines what the issues are and what the alternatives are. Anyway, sorry about that, but
Okay.
in that we're dealing with these Ds and the Board of Governors Pension Committee, these are issues of contention between university and WUFA.
That's helpful to know.
But it doesn't really suggest any changes to 1401 are necessary, right?
No.
Okay. Good. 15, the representation on external committees looks okay to me. Is it to you, everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then electronic voting is new, 1601. Electronic ballot shall be used.
Why do we specifically talk about electronic voting? Why not all voting?
Good question. I mean, I think probably because we have switched to the majority of the voting being electronic, and there's
Well, I can just see that in the AGM in the past, we've typically at least approved the executive or the slate of nominations by a
As
show of hands.
hands, right?
Now, maybe you don't want to have that happen, that all voting would be done by electronic means. At least that becomes all inclusive, or at least, you know, the potential for being all inclusive. Because people can do it from home or whatever else.
Well, we do send out ballots electronically for the slate, at least we have been. So
Oh.
those have been, that's been the votes on the executive committee and the standing committees.
Somewhere in the back of my mind, I think we added language that people would request mail ballots. I just don't remember where.
Yeah, that's
but
somewhere
I
in there.
remember talking about it.
Yep, we
Yeah.
did. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Jake, you're right.
but we probably should repeat that language.
Yes, because I think we still have about 10 people who
Yeah.
don't have email. And so
Right.
we have to notify them
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Right.
But I
Right.
think this one is to just solely address electronic voting, because we did
Yeah.
address the mail
okay.
ballots somewhere else. So I don't know. I mean, if we want to broaden it to all voting, like Richard was wondering,
Yeah.
then we would have to put that in. But I think if this only is about electronic voting, we probably don't need to repeat the other bit that's somewhere else. I can't remember where.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember it
can't,
too.
I
yeah.
remember discussing it
Oh yeah,
and
and
adding it. But I
we
don't,
did.
I'd have to go back and try to
Yeah.
find it. Yeah.
By mail. It was for the
Yeah.
election. Okay, so we'll do a little looking on that, but I don't know how to answer you, Richard. I think they were trying to just address electronic voting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I realize that, but
Because we have voting somewhere else, but I now gotta find it.
Yeah, I have to go back and find that. Probably the nominating.
Yeah, it could be the nominating. I don't know.
But
Where-
to talk about what Richard said at the about, you know, a hand vote at an actual physical meeting, I don't think that this would preclude that. This is about elections to the committee, and you were talking about whether there would be like an approval of the candidates or something, right? Like of the nominations. So maybe that would not preclude having a hand vote, you know, at a meeting, at a physical meeting. Am I right about that?
I'm not so sure, because it says electronic ballots shall be used to conduct votes. So we have to.
Yes.
Well, it says votes for elections.
Oh yeah, but not, you're right. Other business than the executive committee that by simple majority identifies as sufficient.
Yeah, the changes in 1106B added at the very end, members who do not have an email address will be provided paper ballot via Canada Post.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's where that.
So we could repeat that, or just.
Well,
I like the idea of repeating it, just in order to put everything under that subheading, elections. And how do we do it? I've no problem with show of hands or paper ballots or anything else like that. But at least this is a container where we've defined how we make choices through the general membership, and we're not searching around for specific subsections under, let's say, the nominating committee or whatever. It's all in this bucket that we could easily reference.
Good idea.
So, yes, Jake.
Well, one easy way of dealing with it would be to just have 16 voting and then
Yeah.
break it up into electronic and then mail voting
Yep.
Yeah.
and simply repeating that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because someone looking at this could come away with the idea that there is only
Yeah.
electronic voting.
Correct.
Right.
And if we were going to broaden it to voting, it would also be perhaps a good place to put another category of like what the quorums are, all in the same for votes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to have some of this in two different
Yeah.
places because
Yeah.
people look at different things. But if you're going to broaden it to voting itself, all voting, then I think all the rules around voting should be in the same thing.
So the quorums were what, 25 present or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot, a lot of people. I think that number we were looking at, did we change it? I can't remember. We lessened it, didn't we? At one point,
I don't.
we talked about it going down wherever it is, but membership meetings is where it is, I think.
Yeah. I think, no, we left it at 25.
Did we?
Yeah, we left it at, because we included both virtual and attendees. I think we left it from what I remember. We didn't think there'd be an issue with it.
It seems
Or
to be a
quorum.
reasonable number.
Okay,
Or quorum, right?
hopefully. Okay. So it is 11:11. We're past our hour. I thank you all for staying as long as you did. We at least made it through once the entire document.
Yeah.
So we will try to make some of these changes, and I'm going to try to get a hold of Veronica and tell her that we've got some major, at least one major change. Mostly it's cosmetic, but it's a pretty major one from what they've suggested, and see what her reaction is. Richard, do you have your hand?
The major one is to say we don't have to have the annual spring meeting, or
Right,
it's not
right.
like
Not
regular
a
meeting. Yeah,
regular,
yeah,
yeah.
And then I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
anytime there are terms normally we put in there, that
Yep.
kind of
yeah,
covers
yeah,
everything.
yeah. We just want some flexibility. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Nice to see everyone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think Richard's got his hand up.
Just a quick, Bruce and I have been kind of conducting a very small communications meeting off to the side here.
Okay.
And I was going to ask Adrian if he wouldn't mind, if he would like to, or I'm trying to phrase this nicely, write an article about the pension plan, the UPP, something that's a précis of what we've been talking about.
I have difficulty hearing you.
So
Go ahead.
I'm wondering, Adrian, if you would write a short article about the UPP so that we could put it in the e-bulletin, the next issue,
Okay.
which is due to come out at the end of this month.
Yes, I can do that. I will also get in touch with Muharrem, and maybe between the two of us, Muharrem and I, we can do a summary of that video and also a summary of what the new UPP will look like and what the implications are for for the retirees. And I will definitely include in that what Jake mentioned about the what was it again, Jake? The extended health care costs and the subsidies that we get.
Yeah, I think we really have to look into that very carefully.
Yeah, I don't know frankly how that would work. If
Oh,
it's,
I have no idea either.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe Muharrem has, or maybe he can get in touch with these four ladies who explain virtually everything in great detail, but that certainly wasn't brought up.
Yeah, perfect. It's
No,
just,
it wasn't.
the idea is to put the whole UPP discussion on people's radar.
Yeah.
And
Great.
more to
So,
come.
we're-
Maybe secretly, unbeknownst, we've been recording everything. And I've been putting these meeting recordings on YouTube.
Right, and sending it to the Chinese government.
No, I
There you go.
didn't say TikTok, I said YouTube.
Richard,
Yes,
will you send me an email?
I will. I
Yeah.
will.
Okay.
Because
okay.
we don't want this to be too long, Adrian, because we can't, I mean, the bulletin articles are relatively short. So,
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's
Just a-
Adrian, one issue we have to raise is not all retirees are members of WURA. So if there has to be a vote, how is that going to take place? Are we going to be responsible, or is the university going to be
university.
responsible? But those issues have to be looked at.
Yeah,
But
that's,
as I understand it, if more than a third of retirees object, it does not go forward.
yeah, I hear you.
Hank, you're right about that.
And that was
That
stated,
number.
I think, twice in that video.
Yes, you're right about that number, that at least, that we have
Yeah.
more, we have to
Yes.
have at least 2/3 of the members vote
Opposed.
for it, but
yeah.
Yeah,
We-
now,
we-
WUFA,
in other words, at least 2/3 have to
Yeah.
vote
the
for it.
active duty folks, 2/3 have to approve.
Yeah.
But for us, it's the other way around. Why? I'm not quite sure.
Well,
That
if
would-
more than 2/3
Yeah,
of
but
the
we
members
do have a,
approve,
we
but
do have a
obviously it
role
will
there.
pass. Jake, obviously it will pass, more than 2/3 of the members. But your question is, isn't it different? Namely, you would like to have you want to know if every member of, let's say, the university retiree has to vote? That I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody does.
well,
Like,
in that, there has
There's
to
more
be
things to deal with.
objections.
in
I
future.
think the only way there could be 1/3 of the members objecting if we organized it.
Well,
yeah.
there are members, there are retirees
Yeah,
who will
But
be,
they have
they-
no organizational
no,
structure.
that's why the university would have to conduct that.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
we don't even know who they are.
this
Right.
kind of illustrates
Well,
the
I'm
importance.
not sure. If
I need to go too.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Great to see you all. Have a nice holiday weekend.
Yeah, you
You
too.
too.
Have a nice
Okay.
Easter. Wonderful.
This kind
Thanks.
of really
Yeah, we'd have
illustrates-
to look into that.
Yeah.
Because the language of more than a third opposing, somebody would have to organize that group
Well, and that
to
would be,
get
university.
to a third.
well, this kind of
I,
illustrates.
I'm not sure, but I think we need to do due diligence on that one.
Well, but
I
this
suppose only human
illustrates-
resources knows,
Yeah,
that's exactly where
members knows
yeah.
who all the retirees are,
all the ones
And-
getting the pension.
and they could send an email or a
Because-
letter.
Right. Well, because there
Yeah.
are some retirees who are not getting a pension. They've taken their money and they've done their
Well,
own thing.
obviously.
So,
No,
so
no,
it's,
they wouldn't-
it's
they
gonna
wouldn't
have to
count.
be HR.
Yeah, you have to-
HR
you
would
have to be
have to be
getting
the
the
ones to
pension.
do it. Yeah. And
This-
Richard,
This really illustrates the relevance of WURA in this whole dialogue. And it
That's
goes
right.
back to something Roger said earlier on in this meeting, where the e-bulletin was designed specifically to inform WURA or potential WURA members the topics that are relevant to all retirees. And
Right.
this is why I think that UPP is so relevant here. And it's really up to WURA to raise that awareness amongst its members. Now, you're going to have non-WURA members. There's no reason why they can't go in there and read it online. and the discussions and take part in the discussions too, whether they choose to be WURA members or not. So this goes back to what Jake was saying, in that someone's got to take a leadership role in this, and it's obviously WURA. And I think that the sooner we get started in raising awareness on this whole topic, the better it is for us, and it positions us to take that leadership role. It may even generate more members for us because people see the relevance of the organization to them. So anyway, that's my say.
Okay. But I think ultimately the university is going to have to conduct the ballots. It won't be us.
No, but it's really up to us to inform people to make
Oh, yeah, as much
valid
as we can.
decisions.
Yeah.
Because the university is not going to do that.
Well,
Yeah,
hopefully
I'm
the
not
UP.
sure there has to be a ballot.
No, I think the UPP committee itself will have the responsibility.
The way it's structured, somebody has to organize at least a third of the people to oppose it. So
That's
there,
right,
there is
that's right.
there is no requirement that 3/4 approve.
Mhm.
So there may not have to be a ballot at all.
Oh, I think there has to be, Jake.
Uh,
No, I
How
think
would
what Jake
how
is
would you
saying-
know? How
No,
would
but
you
I
know
hear
that?
what Jake
you
is
would
saying.
know if somehow somebody organized the retirees and got over a third to oppose it.
Yep.
See, they do not have to have 3/4 on side.
Oh, I understand what you're
Right.
saying, but how would you record that they were opposing it a third when we don't even know how many retirees in the pension plan there
A
are?
petition.
Just
A petition.
Well,
It would
I'm
have to
not
be
sure. The way I look at it is, if no one organizes a group of retirees to oppose it, they assume we want it.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm almost positive that is the reason the WUFA has 2/3 approval, whereas we have 1/3, no more than 1/3 objecting.
No.
My
don't know.
guess is,
Check
Jake.
that one
I
out.
don't.
Check
I
that
don't
one
think so,
out.
Jake.
I don't know.
My
Uh,
guess
well-
is since U
Well,
of
it's
T,
easy enough to find out because
Yeah.
Queens joined and some other universities joined, and find out how they handled the retirees.
my guess is that when U of T and Queens, I believe, those were the first two universities that started this.
Okay.
And Trent and Guelph also
Well,
joined.
Trent and
Well,
Guelph.
no, it was first Queens and U of T
Okay.
that they came up with this rule for their members. And as you know, I don't know how many retirees U of T has, but I believe how many professors are at U of T?
Yeah, a lot.
Probably 10 times as many as there are at Windsor. I don't know.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
even Queens has many more, and so
mhm.
does Guelph. Now Trent is, I assume, smaller than Windsor, but since they have all accepted this idea, they must have felt that it's highly likely that more than 2/3 of the retirees approved of it.
Mhm.
How they came about, how they voted it, or how they organized the vote, that I don't know. I assume it was human resources, because we can't do it. We don't know who all the people are that have retired.
That's right.
No, I think what we need to do is have a clear picture of that. If it's something that is harmful to retirees, then we kind of send out an urgent bulletin and have them tell us they don't want this.
Yeah.
We have about 160 members, I think, on paper at least. I'm not sure how many university retirees there are.
Yeah.
If we did strongly oppose it, we probably could get, like we got for the elections, we got about 70 people responding. And that should be at least a third. So
Oh, yeah, it would be.
if we can get that many to respond negatively, if we think it's harmful, I think that the key concerns that pensioners have that have been in touch with me and so on is they want to make sure that their pension is safe. That's a key thing.
Right.
Yes.
Over and above that, the subsidy is really helpful.
Mhm.
So those are the two concerns. If those are assured, they won't care what the hell goes on otherwise.
That's right.
Okay,
As long as they
Okay,
get their
that's good.
money.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Muharrem and I'll see if between the two of us, we can come up with an article for Richard.
Okay,
Okay, sounds good.
great. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. And we'll get back together again. I don't know when, but soon. As soon as I get an answer from Mary Ann.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll try to get the minutes out as quickly as I can. I'm busy this afternoon, but I'll get to it as soon as I can.
okay,
okay,
thank
good.
you. All
Have a
right,
good holiday weekend, everyone.
bye for
Yeah,
now.
sure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.